We are surrounded by a language we have forgotten how to read. Ancient metaphysical traditions suggest that the universe communicates its deepest truths through hidden frequencies, patterns embedded directly in the structure of ancient mathematics, letters, and sacred geometry. But right now, humanity exists in a state of exile. We are wandering through what early mystics called the forest of errors, a dense, physical existence entirely disconnected from those original divine frequencies. To understand how we became trapped, we have to look at the esoteric significance of the number 5. In the Martinist tradition, 5 represents the exact point where the divine spirit is pulled down and crucified upon the 4 arms of the material plane. By adding a 5th point to the center of the cross, the geometry changes from a static shape into a pivot. This central point represents the soul, an observer who is no longer just pushed by the 4 directions of nature, but must actively decide how to balance between them. This specific geometric position creates the weight of conscious free will. Because we are trapped right at the center of matter, our senses become overwhelmed. We spend so much energy managing the physical world that we become blind to our true origins, accepting this dense material plane as the only valid reality. This material fixation distorts how we experience the body itself. When we get sick, we treat it as a defect or a punishment. But esoteric physicians view illness simply as struggling health, a temporary repression of the body's natural, underlying state of perfect vitality. That same distortion applies to our greatest fear, physical death. We view the end of the body as total annihilation, but the esoteric reality maps an immortal, continuous soul that merely sheds its physical envelope. Think of the continuous flow of life like an ocean wave. When a wave crashes onto the shore, the water itself is not destroyed. It simply retreats and returns to the deep, waiting to form the next wave. Once you realize the soul is immortal, the fear of physical decay loses its grip. Instead of spending your life terrified of the crash, you can redirect your willpower toward the conscious spiritual ascent of that returning water. Before humanity fell into this physical exile, traditions say we communicated using an interior angelic tongue, an Enochian language that perfectly expressed the truths of the spiritual world without the need for physical sound. This is a comparative table mapping the Hebrew alphabet alongside ancient magical scripts. These symbols are the fractured surviving remnants of that original divine language, proving a structural link between our ancient physical tongues and celestial concepts. Because we still carry a faint memory of our first estate, we subconsciously try to recreate it. Human arts, our poetry, our painting, and our music are all attempts to blend frequencies back into that lost celestial harmony. The Greek philosopher Pythagoras took this literally. He developed the concept of the harmony of the spheres, teaching that the 7 planets emit specific musical ratios, creating an acoustic map of planetary and divine alignment. This means human creativity serves a deeply practical purpose. It is an active navigational tool, a way for the soul to remember its divine origin and pierce through the heavy fog of material exile. To actually climb out of that fog, the soul must follow a strict mathematical progression. It moves next to the number 6, or the Hexad, which represents the 2 opposing currents governing the entire universe. This diagram shows interlocking triangles. The heavy black downward shape is involution, pulling spirit into matter. The double-lined upward shape is evolution, pulling matter back. Together, they form the Seal of Solomon, achieving exact equilibrium between spirit and the physical world. From this balanced state, the soul can progress further. It ascends to the number 7, representing the absolute peak of individual human perfection on Earth. Following that, it reaches the number 8, entering a higher realm of pure universal harmony. Moving sequentially through these numbers establishes what the order calls coordinated man. It is the point where the conscious mind shifts from the physical plane to the astral, bringing the individual into sync with the laws of the higher worlds. This complete diagram is the Martinist Pentacle. It reveals that all the previous stages we've discussed, the human suffering on the cross, the artistic echoes, and the elemental balance of the triangles all operate within a single contained cosmic mechanism. Notice the solid outer boundary enclosing the inner shapes. That outer circle is the ultimate representation of God and eternity. It serves as the absolute limit bounding all physical and astral existence. And this brings us to the final destination of the soul's ascent, the number 10, known esoterically as the Decad. In theosophic reduction, the number 10 returns to 1. It represents the point where the separate individual identity is reabsorbed into the absolute, closing the loop of creation. These symbols function as an alphabet for the mind. By internalizing this geometry through meditation, the student disciplines the intellect to look past material effects and focus on their spiritual causes, the essential mental shift required to end the state of exile.